Hey there! Welcome to another UVI Falcon tutorial, and today we're gonna do something advanced. Have you ever had a timpani sample like this? And a pizzicato sample like this? And you wanted to turn that into something like this. But you have no clue how to do that? Well, that's what we're gonna do today inside of UVI Falcon, so let's get to it. So here we are, inside UVI Falcon. It's a blank UVI Falcon and we're gonna make this patch. Now this is gonna be a long video, because this is a complicated patch and I wanna make this sound as good as possible. So we're gonna start by putting our timpani drum sample inside UVI Falcon, and our pizzicato sample as well. We're gonna put those in two different layers. So I'm gonna start with the pizzicato, or with the timpani one, and I'm gonna take that sample, I'm gonna drag it right in here, and I'm actually gonna look at where I put this, because you can just put it everywhere you want, but I'm gonna just do it right off the bat. So I'm gonna put that on C, so that is C. I'm gonna put it right at the top so that it goes like that, and now it's mapped across the entire keyboard, and it's mapped to the root key of C3. Now if it maps to a wrong root key, you can always change that right over here. So let's say it's on a different root key, I can always change it. So now I need to go back to C3. Like so. Now I want the other sound, and I want that in a separate layer. So I'm going to open this up here, and I'm going to open up the layers here. I'm going to click on New Program. I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to choose Add Layer. And in this layer, so I'm going to open that up, and in this layer I want to put my pizzicato string sample. So I'm going to choose this one, and it sounds like this. And I'm going to put that on C3 as well. So again, make sure you hover over C3 and let go, and now it'll be on C3. So now if I play my MIDI clip, I actually have a MIDI clip of 16 bars with one F2 note in there, and if I now play that, we can hear both layers playing back at the same time. So we have the timpani, and we have the pizzicato string sample. And they're now both playing in the key of F. So I can name these two layers. And I can name everything, actually. So I'm going to go into the program here, and I'm going to double click here in the tree view, and I'm going to call this soundscape, because that's what it is, right? We're going to make a soundscape. Then right here I now have two layers. The first layer, I'm going to call that one timpani, and the second layer, I'm going to call this one pizzicato. So now it's easy to find them back, and it'll also translate right here down to the edit view, so it's all, you know, easy to look at. Now we can close down the mapping editor. We don't need that anymore, and now we can actually start working on the individual layers. So the thing I want to do with this is I want to actually use a couple of different things, and I got this idea from one of the Falcon expansions. I have the Cinematic Shades Falcon expansion, and it has a lot of good presets. This is a really good expansion, let me tell you that right off the bat. I've been playing with it, and the sounds are absolutely awesome. I'm gonna do a full overview of the whole pack, where we're gonna look at every preset, and we're just gonna play with every preset just for a little bit. And yeah, let me tell you, there's some really good ones in there, and I was actually looking at how they were made. And they gave me some really good ideas of what you can do with Falcon, and they actually showed me things inside Falcon that I did not know you could do. And this one, I guess I kind of knew how to do it, but I just never thought of it as an option of doing something like that. But yeah, let's just see how they did that. Now, the thing is, I just want to show you how they achieved it, because I think it's a really interesting thing, and it's a really interesting way of creating something out of just two samples. So we're going to start working on the first layer first, and that's the timpani. Now, the way we're going to create a soundscape out of this, because if I play this now, we just get that one note, and I want to create a soundscape, so we need a way that we can trigger multiple notes, and we can do that with an arpeggiator. So I'm going to put an arpeggiator onto the layer itself, and the reason I can also put the arpeggiator right here on the program, and then the arpeggiator can be applied to both layers at the same time. but I don't want that. I want this arpeggiator to be applied on the layer itself, and I want another arpeggiator being applied to the pizzicato layer. So I want both to have their own arpeggiator. So that way we can create two rhythms independent from each other with two different samples, and that way we can make a really interesting thing. So let's work on that timpani first. On the timpani, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load up an arpeggiator. So right here on the layer, you go to the event, you click on the plus icon, and you can go to the arpeggiator and load up the default arpeggiator. So right off the bat, it'll sound very, well, not really that usable. I'm on a tempo of 172 beats per minute, and that is pretty quick. So that's what we get right now. That's not really all that beautiful, so let's see if we can make it a little better. I'm going to set this to 1/4 of a measure. That already sounds a little bit better. Now I want to... yeah, I just want to play around with this, basically. So I'm going to try and come up with some kind of a rhythm. And yeah, I'm just looking at what would be cool. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, maybe something like this could be interesting. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's do this. So now I've done this. So already we have a bit of a different pattern going on now. I want to play around with the amp envelope right here. So by default you have the default amp envelope, which is perfectly fine, but I like the analog ADSR a lot more. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to choose the analog ADSR. And now it already sounds a little different. But I want to play around with this a little bit. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the dynamic here to, let's do 15. So now we get 15 decibels, and that is actually going to be the dynamic range. So the velocity is now going to be affecting the volume of our patch. So by default, just still going to sound like that, but now I can start playing around with these velocities here. So let's say I want to make these a bit quieter. I'm going to make this one quieter. That one as well. Let's see, what measure is this? This one could be up maybe a bit, because that's actually right on the beat. And then this one is going to go down. This one is going to go down as well. This one can be up, down, maybe a bit like this, something like that maybe. Okay, we're getting somewhere now. This is a better pattern than we had so far. So the next thing what I want to do is now we can play with the pitch. So the pitch here will actually give us a really interesting thing, because what we have right now is we have a drum sound that's already pretty low pitched, and it kind of sounds like a bass drum, right? It kind of just sounds like an orchestral bass drum. And actually a timpani is kind of like an orchestral bass drum. It's not a, you have an actual drum that's called a bass drum, but a timpani is kind of like a really big low percussion sound anyway, so you could use it as a bass drum if you want. But we can do something with it to kind of create a drum pattern. And let me show you what I mean with that. So if I take, for instance, this timpani sound, and if I put this one, or I should take this one actually. If I put this one, let's say 2 octaves up. So 24 semitones, that's 2 octaves. Listen to what happens. See what I mean? So we already get an interesting rhythm. Now let's create something more out of this. So let's maybe do this. I'm also going to bring this one up a full octave. And maybe I want to bring one down somewhere in here. So let's do this one. This one's going to be 1 semitone down. And maybe I'll have one semitone up somewhere, but I'm not sure. Maybe here. You know what? Maybe I'll do this one. Because that's right on the beat. So that can be like our main drum pattern that we're gonna have. That's gonna be the soundscape, a good bet for the soundscape. And I want to play around with the ADSR now. So I'm gonna bring down the sustain here. I'm gonna bring it down almost all the way. I'm gonna also bring up the release a bit so that we don't, you know, get these really short kind of notes. So just bringing up the decay a little bit will help to, well, just give these notes a bit more ring to it so that they don't just stop when this arpeggiator reaches the end of the step. I kind of want to have it extend until the next one happens. And they kind of bleed into each other, which, you know, just adds to the realism, which is good. And we're not going for the most realistic thing. We're just going for like a really interesting kind of textural soundscape. Something, well, not even textural, more like something with a good drum pattern, something that's actually percussive and that could be used in a track straight away. This could actually be like an intro for a track. So now we can start playing with some effects to this layer and kind of make it more interesting. So I think using a filter would be a wise choice. So let me close all these down actually, because let's take the expander filter. I'm going to put that on the layer, on the effects right here. And I want to add a modulator to this. So I'm going to take a modulator here. And yeah, what should we do? I can do maybe the step envelope. We have to slow this down a lot though. Let's slow it down to 1.4 maybe. Maybe even to 1 or 1.2. Yeah, something like that sounds pretty interesting. I also think I want to add an equalizer to this. So the equalizer will help to kind of tone down the low frequencies a bit, because they're quite heavy. So I'm going to add a high pass here. Because otherwise it's going to be a little bit heavy. And I don't think we need that much. I'm also going to take a little cut here. Just so that we get some less of those, you know, lower mid frequencies, because I don't think we need that much right now. Next up, let's add a delay. So I'm going to take the dual delay, and yeah, we can play around with this. Maybe sync it to the BPM and set this to 1/4 maybe. Okay, so what happens if we do this? Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's offset these a bit. So maybe 70? I'm also going to bring down the high cut here. Let's see what happens if I make this longer. Yeah, I like that. So just a very subtle delay sound on it, but I think that sounds really nice. Now, let's take Spark Verb. Spark Verb is absolutely beautiful. I want to add some nice reverb to this. So I'm thinking a hall, maybe a good hall. Let's see, large hall 1. That could be a good one. It's actually quite a big one. Let's try the concert hall, which is a lot smaller actually. Now I noticed that the volume might be a little bit low, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply a studio limiter here to the master, to the program. I'm just gonna bring down the threshold here, and it will automatically increase the gain. So that should be a little bit louder for you guys. Now, we are getting somewhere. I think it would be time right now to go into the second layer. So here we have the pizzicato sound. And I'm going to basically just take another arpeggiator. So let's go to the event here. Arpeggiator. Oh, let's load up one. I'm going to set this to 1/4 as well. So now we have something very similar like what we had with the other one. We want to create a pattern again. So I'm going to start again with a pattern. First thing I want to do is maybe... Let's see. So that's a slightly different pattern than what we have in the other one. It's still quite similar though. Maybe I want to change this one a little bit. Let's say I want to turn this one on and this off. That sounds cool. So this one is now slightly different, and I'm going to do something similar though here. So I'm going to take this one up an octave. Maybe this one up to 13. And then here I might be able to go up to 24. And then go up to 11 here, which is like, these are all semitones. So you have to understand a little bit how music theory works to know on which note this ends up. But since we are in F, if I go up 12, this ends up on F as well. If I go up 13, this now ends up on F sharp. If I go up 24, we end up on F again, because that's 2 full octaves. If I go up by 11 semitones, now we end up on one note below F, which is E. So you have to understand that a little bit to know how to work with an arpeggiator, because otherwise it's just going to be hard to work with. But right now, it sounds like this. I think that sounds interesting. This is something we can work with. So I want to go down here, and I want to go to the amp envelope, and I'm going to replace this with an analog ADSR because it just sounds better in my opinion. I'm going to take the dynamic at 15 decibels of dynamic range so that we have a little bit of velocity sensitivity. I'm also going to bring the decay or the sustain time down, and I'm going to bring the release up quite a lot here. So that's getting somewhere. Let's see what this sounds like actually with the pizzicato or with the timpani together. Let's bring this one down to 12 and let's bring this one up to 24. I think I want to bring this one up to 24 as well, though. I think that sounds kind of nice. Maybe if we do this. That's kind of nice, right? So now we can play with the velocities here. So I want to make this one a bit quieter. Same one for this, and I just want to play around with these velocities a bit, so that it's not all the same. Maybe just do something like this. Now the timpani layer right now is a little bit loud, so I could maybe bring the gain down here a bit. Okay, I like what this is doing now. So I want to add a delay to this as well. Let's take our dual delay again. Let's add that right here. And this time I'm just going to go for, yeah, actually more like a nice, simple version of a delay. So I'm just going to sync that to the BPM. Let's choose a 1/4 dotted timing. Let's bring this down a bit. Let's just increase the feedback a little bit. Just adding a bit of the filter here, so that we don't get the full frequency range anymore, but we just get a little bit of it. Let's play around with this EQ here. I kind of like what that does. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna assign a LFO to this one, and I'll have that LFO kind of just move that over time, as you see right now. I'm going to back it down a bit though. And I'm going to sync this to the BPM as well. So let's try maybe 2. And bring the depth down a bit here. Maybe even slower. Let's try 4. Let's bring it up a bit. Bring this down a bit. Maybe give it some modulation. Yeah, that starts to sound pretty nice. I can add some reverb again, so let's try Spark Verb. I'm gonna do a hall, and let's do the large hall again. I think that would be a good one. So let's put it after the delay. Yeah, I like the sound of that. What else do we have? I actually have a user preset that I took from some of the presets that I really like the sound of. It's basically two chains, and one is a chain that makes everything wider, and the other one is a chain that excites everything. So combine the two together, and they simply make everything sound a lot more beautiful. So this is without. And this is with. It really adds something to it. Now, I can play with this here. What I want to do is I'm actually going to change the pitch, the root note of this particular sample. I'm going to change this to C2. And I'll tell you why. If I do that, we now get something higher pitched. And now on the arpeggiator, I'm going to select here on the octave -1. So if I'm right, it should now play first the original pitch, and then it should go to an octave lower. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, so if I add another note here, okay, so without that one, now it's actually repeating itself correctly. Basically what it does is every step it'll go up an octave and then down an octave again. So what it does here is it plays the first one in its original octave, then the next one is going to go down, and then this one is going to go up again, this one's going to go down again, and it basically just changes the octave every single step. So if there's a gap here, it won't change. It'll only change on the actual step. So if you have an uneven number, it'll basically just repeat itself, but it'll start on a different octave the second time. So if you want to have it repeating correctly, you basically just want to have it, yeah, the way I have set it up right now. We can do another one in here, and that would actually give us a repeating pattern of now, well, longer than what this is. This is how much? This is 16 steps of 1/4. So we now have a repeating pattern of 32 steps. And that could actually be nice, so let's play this with the pizzicato. Okay, so I'm going to play around with this now, and what I want to do is I want to take this sample here, and I want to turn this into a granular sampler. So just by right-clicking on this right here, it'll open up a menu, and you can just select whatever you want. Right now, we are in the granular one. So I'm going to start with the window mode here. I'm just going to change it to Henning. Henning is more like a type that I really like the sound of, so they all sound different, so just play around with them. Choose the one you like most. I like Henning, so that's the one we're going to stick with now. We can play with the size here. So that's going to do a lot, and we probably want to play around with that a lot as well. So again, density is a good one as well. Jitter is also nice. It gives it a little bit of a randomized kind of fashion. Same goes for the pitch variation. I like adding a little bit of pitch variation, just gives it a little bit more, just a bit of detuning, I guess. It adds some stereo width, and it really helps to give it some more variety, I guess, over time. Now, granular stuff really starts to shine the moment you start speeding or slowing it down, or speeding it up or slowing it down. So if we speed this up to, let's say, maybe a little bit faster than what it normally is. Yeah, we can assign a couple of things now. What we could do, for instance, is take the loop mode here, and let's set that to forward backwards. So now this is going to keep on looping, and that's going to mean that we're actually going to get some interesting textures. You get these interesting kind of things. I kind of want to load up the two arpeggiators that I made before, or actually that I took from the preset that inspired this, because I think they sound a little bit better. So let's try. Those would be... I'm actually going to save the arpeggiators that I made already so that we can always load them back up. So let's save this one, call it ARTFX Tutorial 2. And now I'm gonna load up a different one, which is this one. So it's slightly different. And let's load up right here. I'm gonna save this one, called ARTFX Tutorial 3. And I'm gonna load up this one. Okay, so it's slightly different. This right here, what you see, that really narrow bar, if you hold shift and then click and drag, you can change how wide it is. So that's actually how long the step will take, how long the step what the duration of the step is. So you can actually make the step itself shorter. But now with the new notes in there, with the new arpeggiator, it's way too quick, but that's because these arpeggiators are set to a really quick speed. Let me set the arpeggiators to 1/4 of a timing. Resolution of 1/4. And now it sounds like... actually, I should go to the pizzicato and add an equalizer as well to this one. Just so that we can make sure that we don't get as much high frequencies. Oh, it added it right here, so let's add it on the pizzicato. Where is that? Pizzicato, click on that, and then it opens it up. Let's drop this one right here. Turn this one on. Let's just high cut it a little bit. I'm actually going to speed it up a little bit. I think that's quite nice. And from here you can just keep on going. That's literally the most beautiful thing of this whole thing. You can keep on going. Let's say, for instance, you want to start adding some macro knobs. Maybe I like what it's doing right here. I like that speed, and I want to speed it up every now and then. So I can just go in here, go to Program. Or, no, I should go to somewhere else. Where is it? Where are the macros? Wait. Where are the macro knobs? Well, anyway, there is a way to add macro knobs. I forgot how to do it. Oh, wait, here. Assign to macro. So you can just add it to a macro knob. And now that will show up right here on the info tab. So now we have macro 1 here. I can probably change the name of it. If I can find where it is. Pizzicato. It should be somewhere on here. Macro 1. Oh, wait, here. So just change the name to, let's say, speed. Because that's what it is. And now if I twist that knob. And I can probably set the range as well. So right now the range is quite large. So you can just keep on going, and that's a beautiful thing. Now, this is just how you would create something like this. And I mean, it's just started with 2 samples. We literally started with this sample and with that sample. So those 2 samples now created this really interesting percussion bed with a nice melodic layer on top, and we can start changing the arpeggiator to create a completely different rhythm. We can start changing the filters. We can add more effects. Heck, we could start adding effects on the program itself, where we add effects to both layers at the same time. I mean, why not? We could do that. We can take whatever we want. I mean, there's a lot we could do. Let's say I'm gonna take this delay. I want to put this delay on the actual layer itself. And we can keep going. We can keep going. That's the beautiful thing. And it's literally endless, and that's why I love Falcon so much. Now, I want to quickly show you, before we end this video, I want to show you the original preset, where I got the idea from. Because that preset, I still don't fully understand how they made it. I've been looking at it, I kind of found out how they did this particular thing, but there's a lot more going on in that particular preset. It has a couple of more layers, and it's just a lot more complicated. But I quickly want to show you that, because it sounds absolutely beautiful, so that you kind of know where I took the idea from. Before I can do that, though, let me open up a new Falcon, because, yeah, we don't want to ruin this one up, because I might want to use this preset. So let's load up a new Falcon. And let me open up that particular preset. It's right here, sequences, and it's called Mad Season. So I've loaded it up right now. Let me take the MIDI clip. I'm gonna put that MIDI clip on the new track, and this is what that preset sounds like. Okay, so I have to slow it down. It's quite fast. In the tree view here, I can go and slow everything down. Like, I can go to the arpeggiator and I can slow that one down, but that's just a lot of work. I can quickly as well go in here, and right here it's where it says the actual tempo of my project. This button right next to it is sync to your host BPM. So if I click that, it'll unsync, and now it'll jump to 120. If I double click it, I can enter my own value. So if I enter 86, that's half of 172. This patch is gonna play at half the speed right now, so it's actually gonna be a lot slower. So this one sounds absolutely interesting, and it was done in the exact same way, and as you can see, it comes with a lot more knobs here, and we can play around with these for just real quick. Let's just do it real quick. Absolutely beautiful. So, before we're ending this video, I want to show you one more thing. You can keep improving this thing, you know, you can keep on going, the possibilities are endless, and you can probably make this even better. But, let's say you want to quickly turn this into a different sounding patch. We had this one before, so we had this pizzicato sample, and it sounds like this. Right? That's what we had. Now, let's say I want to change that. So if I put in this sample, which is a zither sound, and I drag that into the sampler here, and this is the granular sampler, it's now actually not changing the settings. It leaves all the settings intact. Everything is going to stay the way it is. It's just going to change the actual sample. So now, if I play this back, it should sound completely different. Damn. I really like this one. I think this could even end up in one of my tracks. You know what? That's nice. So, that was a pretty interesting video, pretty advanced sound design, and I hope you learned something today. If not, then please let me know in the comments below what you want me to do next, because I want to do more videos with UVI Falcon, and if you have a particular sound that you want to request, feel free to do so, and I'll try to make sounds like that. I'll try and show you how you can make similar sounds to that. Now, please keep it a little bit easy for me. I mean, there's always people who want to request specific sounds from a specific track, from a specific artist, and however, that's fine. I mean, that's cool, but it's very hard to recreate those sounds, and it's actually not gonna happen that often that I know how to make that sound, because a lot of the times, let me tell you that most of the time those producers have probably just been experimenting with the tools that they like to use, and at some point they came across a cool sound. Because that's usually how it works. You kind of know what all the tools do, but it's still just a matter of experimenting with all those tools to get to something that really sounds interesting and that is refreshing and new and original. You know, it's not just that you're going to sit there and be like, I'm going to make that sound right now. You might get close, or you might have an idea of where you want to go and what kind of direction you want it to go, but making exactly what you have in your head is very difficult. So recreating something exactly might even be more difficult. And what I like is when people just come to me and just say, can you show us how to make heavier respaces with a very good amount of filtering on it? Something like that, you know? Sure, I can do that. And then we can go actually in quite a few directions with it. So that's really nice. So if you have any requests, feel free in the comments below to let me know what you want me to do next. And that's what we're going to do. So, there's going to be a lot more UVI Falcon tutorials coming soon. I really like this one. I really like doing these more advanced tutorials. I'm going to try do the UVI Falcon Cinematic Shades Expansion overview video somewhere this week, where we're going to go over most of the presets. I actually went through them already, and they sound just absolutely insane. I'm really, really curious to see how they've achieved some of these things, some of these presets. Other than that, if you want to be part of my Discord community, check out the invite link below my stream. my Discord community is a place where we talk about music production in general, but we also talk a lot about bass-heavy genres, so anything dubstep, drum and bass in particular, and just, you know, any genre that is, you know, in the bass scene right now. If you want to be part of that, just come and join and be a member. It would be great to see you guys there. We have a lot of members already, but it's just a great place to be and to connect with other like-minded people. So I hope you learned something today. That's it for this video. I'm going to be doing a live stream upcoming Friday, 8 p.m. Central European time. This Friday, we're going to do a long feedback session. So if you want to have some feedback on one of your tracks, get your tracks ready and join the stream upcoming Friday. So that's it for today, and I hope to see you back soon. Peace.